A spark lives within every being, a silent call that whispers of something greater waiting to be discovered. That pull you feel toward mystery, power, and self-understanding is not random, it is your essence yearning to reveal itself in ways you may not have imagined. The path you are about to walk is not about fantasy or escape, but about unlocking the mirror of your own spirit. Across cultures and centuries, people have sought symbols to make sense of their inner fire, their strength, their shadows, and their light. You, too, carry that hunger for meaning, the desire to see yourself reflected in a force that feels timeless. This is not about stories told long ago, but about the living energy you carry right now, in this very moment. Every heartbeat, every instinct, every unspoken dream hints at a deeper identity. Imagine it as a secret companion that has always been with you, not watching from afar but breathing alongside you, waiting for the right time to step forward. That companion is the shape of your truest self, wearing the form of an ancient power that words can barely contain. What you are stepping into is more than self-reflection, it is recognition. Recognition that your struggles, your victories, your passions, and even your doubts are threads of a vast tapestry that ties you to something older than history itself. To embrace this is to realize you are not small, you are not ordinary, you are part of a legacy that has no boundaries. When you uncover which archetype resonates with your being, it will not feel like new knowledge. It will feel like remembering. As though a hidden truth has been waiting patiently behind a locked door, now finally opening to flood you with the clarity you always sensed was there. You didn't stumble here by accident, you were led. If something in your spirit is stirring, don't ignore it. Tap join to access exclusive content, prophetic insights, and a community of purpose-driven souls. This isn't just a membership, it's your moment of alignment. Step into who you were born to be. Welcome to the Chosen. This journey is not meant to make you someone else, it is meant to remind you of who you have always been. The revelation does not lie in comparison or imitation, but in celebrating the brilliance already pulsing through you. What you find here will not define you, it will amplify you. So step forward with anticipation. Let curiosity carry you, let courage guide you, and let wonder open your heart. What you are about to discover is not an outside force, it is your reflection in its most extraordinary form, a living symbol of the greatness that has always belonged to you. Those who walk this path are guardians of stillness, carriers of a wisdom that does not shout but whispers gently through the silence they choose. Their power does not bloom in crowds or chaos, but in the rare spaces where stillness allows the soul to unfurl its truths. Theirs is not isolation but sacred retreat, a deliberate turning inward where clarity sharpens and meaning deepens away from the constant pull of the outside world. In that vast hush, a reflection takes form, a presence that embodies delicacy and mystery, moving between realms with a grace few can comprehend. This presence, like a hidden current beneath calm waters, thrives not in noise but in the in-between, where edges blur and perception heightens. It carries an aura that both draws curiosity and guards its own sanctity, much like the individual who cherishes the sanctum of their inner life. Their bond is not forged through dominance or spectacle, but through an unspoken recognition. Both hold a subtle strength rooted in being misunderstood yet profoundly self-aware. They understand that depth is rarely visible at first glance, that true richness lies below surfaces. This awareness weaves them together into a kinship built on the quiet resilience of those who value stillness as a birthplace of transformation. What may seem like withdrawal is in truth a choice to cultivate a deeper garden within. Both retreat not out of avoidance but out of understanding that wisdom requires silence as soil and reflection as water. Their companionship is a dance of pauses and breath, where illumination emerges softly, steady as a lantern in the dusk, showing the way not through force but through calm persistence. Their attunement is finely tuned, sensitive to nuances others overlook, aware of subtle movements and shifts that ripple beneath the visible. This sensitivity, far from fragility, becomes their greatest guide, steering them through shadow and light alike with an awareness sharpened by listening to what others ignore. It is an instinctive knowing, a compass that glows from within rather than pointing outward. Here lies the heart of their parallel, the recognition that their uniqueness is not in grand gestures but in perspective, and the ability to see patterns others dismiss. The world may measure worth in noise and conquest, but they measure it in clarity and insight. They move not to impress but to uncover, not to compete but to comprehend, and in doing so, their quiet strength radiates more profoundly than thunder ever could. Together, they reveal a truth too easily forgotten: the most powerful journeys begin in silence. To turn inward is not to abandon the world, but to prepare to return with a deeper knowing of how to meet it. In that stillness, a bridge is built, not only to the self, but to the vast and hidden forces that shape existence. And from this union comes a timeless lesson, that solitude, when embraced, does not diminish but expands the spirit, opening doors to truths that can only be found in the echo of one's own soul. If your heart overflows with God's blessings, let that love shine. Click the super thank you button and give $50 or more to plant seeds of faith that will impact countless lives. Your generosity reflects His abundance. Be a vessel of His grace and watch His kingdom flourish through you. Carriers of renewal are often disguised as bringers of lightness, weaving restoration not through force but through a gentle presence that uplifts and transforms. Their essence is not merely about fixing what is broken, but about reviving the spark that allows life to glow once more. Healing in their hands is alive, unpredictable, and full of color, reminding us that recovery is as much about joy as it is about repair. Within their reflection stands a being that embodies wonder in miniature, carrying the vitality of play and the quiet strength of resilience. It does not heal with solemnity, but with mischief and brightness, proving that laughter and ease can mend unseen wounds just as effectively as solemn rituals. Its very existence speaks of the kind of help that enters quietly, delighting the spirit even before the body realizes it has begun to mend. The bond between these archetypes thrives on a shared devotion to harmony. Neither focuses solely on wounds of flesh or fractures of thought. Instead, they understand that true wholeness arises when balance returns across every layer of being. They channel an energy that refuses to separate sorrow from laughter, for both are threads of the same tapestry. And in their company, even turmoil feels softer, more navigable, transformed into something bearable. To walk alongside this playful force is to remember that remedies often arrive in shapes we do not expect. Sometimes healing does not come from solemn incantations or heavy effort, but through the surprise of joy, the spontaneous ripple of delight, the way lightness itself can ease burdens too heavy to name. Their gift is not only restoration, it is the reintroduction of vitality where it seemed lost. Such beings remind us that support is more than the mending of wounds, it is the cultivation of spaces where growth and laughter flourish. Their energy is rare and precious, a living reminder that healing is inseparable from delight. They shine in the overlooked corners, not by demanding attention, but by quietly scattering fragments of hope that slowly grow into wholeness. Together, these forces embody the paradox that chaos and cure walk hand in hand. Healing is not linear, not sterile, not stripped of unpredictability. It is dynamic, fluid, and sometimes messy. The presence of play within the process does not weaken it. Rather, it deepens it, opening paths that rigid order could never reach. Through this, they teach that wholeness embraces the full spectrum of human experience. And so, in their alignment, they reveal that healing is not the absence of pain, but the ability to weave both joy and sorrow into a fabric that sustains life. Their lesson is timeless. Renewal is most powerful when it is infused with lightness of heart. In every smile that eases despair, and every burst of playful energy that lifts the weary, they remind us that within each soul lies the power to heal, to nurture, and to shine again. Strength forged in struggle carries within it a dual nature, the force to endure and the insight to reflect. What seems on the surface like an unshakable spirit of battle often hides a contemplative depth, a current of thought running beneath the armor of resilience. This paradox reveals that power is not only about striking forward, but also about pausing to understand the meaning behind each clash, each scar, and each victory. There exists a figure that embodies this balance of ferocity and thought, a being known for both its fearsome reputation and its surprising inward gaze. It represents the warrior's heart not as reckless conquest, but as a pursuit shaped equally by discipline and reflection. Its presence illustrates that might and wisdom do not cancel one another, but together form the essence of endurance that outlives the moment of battle itself. The image of regeneration in this creature serves as a profound symbol of resilience. Every attempt to diminish it only results in renewal, a return stronger than before. This echoes the journey of the warrior, who, when struck down by hardship, refuses to remain broken but instead rises again with more strength, more determination, and more clarity. Struggle, for them, is never an end but a beginning reshaped. What sets this archetype apart is not merely the willingness to confront external trials, but the bravery to sit with one's own turmoil. The solitude sought after conflict is not emptiness, it is the forge where strategy is refined and wounds are given the space to heal. It is here, in the quiet aftermath, that strength matures into wisdom and raw force becomes tempered resolve. This union of fire and stillness reminds us that true power lies as much in contemplation as in conquest. To fight without thought is recklessness, to think without acting is stagnation. The one who carries both qualities embraces the complete path of the warrior, where each encounter, whether with enemies or with inner fears, becomes another step toward mastery of the self. In this reflection, heroism is no longer about endless victories, but about the courage to evolve with each trial faced. The lesson lies not in chasing triumph after triumph, but in realizing that the greatest conquest is over one's own doubts and limitations. Every challenge is a mirror, revealing what still must be transformed within, and every return to the field is an opportunity to emerge renewed. Thus, the figure of the warrior aligned with this formidable creature reminds us that resilience is not a single act but a lifelong rhythm: fall, rise, reflect, and rise again. To embody such an archetype is to embrace both ferocity and patience, both action and contemplation, recognizing that real greatness emerges not from constant conquest, but from the harmony of strength and insight woven together. Restless spirits thrive where boundaries are tested, carrying within them a force that cannot be silenced or contained. They are driven not by comfort, but by the hunger to disrupt, to reshape, to carve pathways where none existed before. This essence of defiance glows like a living spark, proof that independence is not granted, but claimed through courage and conviction. There emerges a being that personifies this unyielding fire, not through quiet resistance but through raw, undeniable presence. It does not bend to expectations or soften its edge for approval. Instead, it exists as a vivid reminder that transformation is born from those who refuse to accept the weight of imposed order. Its energy is untamed, fierce, and insistent on breaking through walls others accept as unmovable. This figure reflects the rebel archetype with unshakable clarity. Their shared truth is simple yet profound: change is not only possible, it is inevitable when fueled by the will to challenge the structures that confine. Both the untamed spirit and the rebel thrive in the refusal to fit the mold, embodying freedom not as luxury, but as necessity. Their alignment speaks of rebellion not as chaos for its own sake, but as an honest declaration of identity. No path is followed here; instead, a new one is forged with each step. The defiant spirit does not wait for permission to create, it burns away barriers and replaces them with possibility. This fierce independence serves not only itself, but those who witness its blaze, proof that standing apart can illuminate the way for others still searching for the strength to rise. Through this image, we are reminded that the rebel's nature is not about destruction, but about reconstruction. The wild force carries within it the seed of transformation, reshaping not only the world but the self. To walk this path is to embody courage in its rawest form, the bravery to risk isolation in pursuit of authenticity, to ignite fires that light up hidden potential. The intensity of this energy is not reckless, it is purposeful, carrying vision beneath its ferocity. Each act of defiance is not random but intentional, questioning what others overlook and daring to envision alternatives. It is this relentless pursuit of what could be that gives rebellion its power, making it a beacon for progress rather than a threat to order. Together, the rebel and its fiery reflection teach that real independence comes from the refusal to shrink, the insistence on standing tall even when the world resists. Their combined lesson is one of transformation, that within each of us lies a force capable of breaking chains, igniting change, and reshaping existence itself, not by following, but by daring to redefine the very ground we walk upon. Carriers of wisdom often move quietly, shaped not by the noise of the world but by the depth of their perception. Their strength is not measured in speed or conquest, but in the ability to see what lies hidden, to uncover meanings that drift beneath the obvious. This archetype lives in patience, in the long pursuit of clarity, where every lesson is not collected but lived, becoming part of the self. There exists a presence that mirrors this patient quest, a figure that thrives in vastness, embodying knowledge too deep to be contained by surface understanding. It slips through unseen places with grace, guarding truths that stretch beyond eras, embodying the archetype of the sage not with spectacle, but with steady endurance. Its essence reminds us that understanding is not loud, but profound, built on the willingness to look deeper than others dare. Its expansive domain serves as a metaphor for the boundless reach of true wisdom. Knowledge is not confined to small circles but spreads endlessly, weaving through connections and mysteries too complex to grasp at once. Those who embody this spirit know that the search for truth is never complete. It is an infinite journey, just as vastness itself cannot be contained. Time has etched perspective into this figure, shaping it into a keeper of insight that stretches beyond generations. It is not impressed by fleeting triumphs or temporary failures, for it has witnessed cycles rise and fall endlessly. This perspective teaches us to step back from immediacy, to see not just the moment, but the interwoven story it belongs to, and to recognize our own place within that larger whole. In solitude, it finds not emptiness but clarity. What appears as distance is in fact the stillness required for deep reflection, a retreat where truths reveal themselves in silence. This quality reflects the archetype of the sage, who thrives in contemplation and seeks understanding not only of the world outside, but of the currents flowing within the self. The wisdom carried by this archetype is not merely about collecting facts or stories, it is about applying insight with empathy and purpose. To know is not enough. To live in alignment with what is understood is where real transformation lies. This figure embodies that principle, encouraging us to listen to the truths around us, to honor the unseen, and to shape our lives with thoughtful intent. Through this reflection, we are reminded that enlightenment is not a destination, but an ongoing voyage. The lesson is clear. To pursue wisdom is to remain endlessly curious, to embrace the unknown as teacher, and to weave what is learned into the fabric of life. It is a call to patience, to humility, and to the recognition that the deepest truths reveal themselves only to those willing to journey far beyond the surface. Those who carry the spirit of guidance shine with a brilliance that is not of this world, their presence lifting others beyond ordinary horizons. Their gift is not confined to teaching facts or pointing out simple truths, but in awakening something far greater, the realization that within every soul lies a light waiting to be recognized. This is the essence of the guru archetype, a beacon whose very being reflects wisdom too vast to be measured. There is a presence that mirrors this transcendent calling, a figure woven into the fabric of the cosmos itself. It does not simply exist within higher realms, it is part of them, inseparable from the very forces that shape existence. Its glow is not ornamental, but purposeful, a living current of knowledge and illumination that resonates with those who are ready to ascend to a greater vision of themselves. This presence teaches by existence alone, embodying truths that words cannot capture. Transformation here is not found in the external, but in the way perception shifts when touched by its radiance. It represents the guru's power to guide seekers toward their own awakening, not by imposing belief, but by reminding them of what has always been within their reach. Such energy does not move in haste or urgency, it radiates with patience, calling others to rise at their own pace. It whispers of journeys that extend beyond the body and the mind, reaching into the essence of the soul. The guru's path, reflected in this celestial counterpart, is not a quick ascent but a lifelong unfolding, where every step reveals new layers of truth. The brilliance of this archetype lies in its ability to expand perspective. Where the world offers distraction and limitation, this guiding force elevates the gaze toward infinity, reminding us that the same spark that ignites the heavens also burns quietly within us. To embody this is to hold the courage to see beyond what is near, to embrace the limitless with openness and faith. In alignment with this cosmic figure, the guru archetype reveals its truest purpose, not to demand reverence, but to inspire recognition. It leads not through command, but through light, showing that enlightenment is not about becoming someone else, but about remembering the eternal flame already carried within. The lesson is not about distance, it is about connection to the infinite. Through this union, we are invited into a greater vision of ourselves. The call is clear: seek not the end, but the unfolding, trust not in borrowed light, but in the glow that emerges from within. The Guru and its celestial reflection stand as reminders that awakening is not a destination but a journey of courage, presence, and infinite possibility, guided always by the radiance of truth. Those attuned to the unseen carry within them a gift that cannot be explained by logic alone. Their essence is drawn toward mysteries, toward the places where reality bends and truth hides in subtle layers. This is the heart of the mystic archetype, not a seeker of surface answers, but an explorer of the depths that lie just beyond ordinary perception. There exists a figure that embodies this calling, a being whose nature is interwoven with veils of secrecy and currents of spiritual power. Its presence resonates with energies that cannot be captured by the physical eye, yet can be felt in the soul's quietest spaces. It moves not to dominate but to reveal, serving as a guide through dimensions most are too cautious to enter. This companion to the mystic does not heal wounds of flesh but restores balance to the spirit. Its influence is subtle yet profound, unraveling the knots that separate us from the larger flow of existence. Where fragmentation reigns, it weaves connection. Where despair lingers, it opens pathways back to wholeness. Its essence carries the ability to harmonize the inner world with the vast expanse beyond. Cycles and unseen rhythms shape its being, reflecting the way all things rise, fall, and return in endless continuity. It thrives at the edges of thresholds, moments where one realm brushes against another. In this liminal space, the mystic finds kinship, discovering not just insight but transformation, for it is here that the ordinary dissolves into the extraordinary. Its message is clear: the unknown is not something to fear, but to embrace. To embody the mystic archetype is to understand that magic is not hidden in distant lands, but present in every breath, every reflection, every quiet moment where the soul dares to listen. The presence of this guide magnifies that truth, offering courage to those who would peer beyond the veil. It reminds us that wisdom is not confined to texts or traditions, but lives in the delicate interplay of intuition, experience, and unseen connection. The path is not about escaping reality, but about deepening it, about recognizing that the world is layered with meanings invisible to the untrained eye. By leaning into mystery, the mystic learns that understanding is found not by controlling, but by surrendering. Through this reflection, the mystic archetype shines as an invitation to walk the path of wonder. The lesson it brings is not about answers, but about presence, to remain open, curious, and willing to step into shadow in order to discover light. In the company of this ethereal counterpart, we are urged to recognize our place in the greater web, to honor the unseen as part of the whole, and to let mystery itself become a source of healing and truth. Those who embody the spirit of creation carry within them a force that refuses to remain still. Their vision is not bound by what already exists, but expands into the realm of infinite possibility, where ideas are born and given form through imagination and daring. This is the essence of the creator archetype, an endless urge to shape, to innovate, to give life to what has never been seen before. There exists a being that reflects this boundless drive, a figure that radiates with brilliance and transforms possibility into tangible wonder. It does not merely occupy space, it generates it, weaving environments, forms, and patterns out of sheer will. Its every movement is an act of design, a reminder that creativity itself is a living, breathing force, not a fleeting spark. The reflection of this archetype teaches that invention is not a single act but a constant flow, forever expanding and shifting. To align with this spirit is to understand that nothing is fixed, everything is in motion, ready to be reimagined. Creation is not passive, it is a dance of daring, an embrace of the unknown, and the courage to bring the invisible into existence. Every expression of this energy carries a challenge to look beyond the edges of what seems possible. Its brilliance encourages us not only to think of what is missing but to manifest it, to refuse stagnation, and to shape the world in ways that stir others to believe in their own creative strength. Through this, the creator becomes not just a maker, but a catalyst for transformation. What emerges from this alignment is a truth that creativity is both a gift and a responsibility. To create is to bring something into being that has the power to inspire, to heal, to disrupt, or to elevate. The creator archetype reminds us that imagination is not meant to be hidden, it is meant to ripple outward, reshaping what is ordinary into something extraordinary. In the shifting brilliance of this presence, we are reminded that innovation is a journey without end. Every act of creation leads to another, every idea births the potential for countless more. Its spirit reflects not just beauty, but momentum, a current that draws us toward expansion, growth, and the uncharted spaces of our own potential. And so, at the close of this exploration, a call rises to share what has been uncovered. Creation is not meant to be solitary, it thrives when expressed, exchanged, and celebrated with others. By reflecting on the archetype that resonates within, by naming the essence that shapes us, and by offering these revelations openly, we create a shared space of discovery. In this space, we find connection, growth, and the reminder that imagination, when shared, becomes a light powerful enough to change the course of many lives.